Alright guys, thanks for coming back. This is US Agent 27. I'm from the Articulated forums, and I'm back today with something totally brand new, something that I haven't done before. I'm going to review a transformer, and this actually isn't just any transformer. This is a third-party representation of basically Huffer, and that's supposed to represent the Masterpiece line. Recently, I have really gotten into the Masterpiece Transformers. I really dig them. They're really great representations of the Transformers I remember having as a kid. So I've kind of gone out and tried to get a couple of things to, grow my collection, get, my core team going with my Autobots, my Decepticons. And I saw this guy online. I've seen a couple of different reviews, and I decided to take a chance on it and grab it. And overall, I'm really glad I did. And I'll kind of go over some of the negatives and some of the positives with this guy. Do a couple size comparisons for you. I really dig him. I think he looks great in robot mode, or truck mode, if you will. He will roll no problem. Okay. Overall, his presentation is amazing. I mean, it looks just like a G1 toy, just upscaled a little bit. Alright, so let me set him off to the side. We'll take a look at his packaging. Here's a look at the box. Back to the camera. Very plain looking box. Purple and orange Cubics robots. Old Timer Series number 1. Huff. I'm really kind of hoping that they come out with another one of these, and another, more of the mini robots in the series. They really did a nice job on it. Some stuff on the back talks about Puff, basically. Japanese, I can't read that. Some stats. So let's look at the box. Pretty plain looking box compared to a Takara box or a Hasbro box. Overall, not too bad. Here's a look at the tray. And this is where he came in robot mode. Now, he also comes with, and I'm not going to use this stuff, but it was nice that they included it. I guess when they first were designing him, they had unarticulated hands. So they kind of gave you that option. If you want to swap them out and have unarticulated hands, you can. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know, but they gave you the option to do that. They also gave him a different head sculpt, too. I guess this was the original head sculpt. And based on fans' feedback, they went with a more Masterpiece-esque head sculpt. I mean, I do like this one, but I think I'm going to leave the one that's on there. So it's still pretty cool that they include that. I mean, they didn't have to do that by any means. I appreciate it, but I'm going to leave that back in the box. Put this up, set this off to the side. He also comes with 2 Masterpiece cards. There's one that's this one's kind of like the Takara cards that you normally get with the Takara Masterpiece Transformers. Here's the back, some stats, all in Japanese, which I can't read, or Chinese, I'm not really sure which. And we have an American version of the card, which has got some nice artwork on it. And in the back is all in English, so that's pretty cool. He also comes with an instruction manual. Now I have to say, of all the instruction manuals I've gotten so far with all the Masterpiece Transformers, this one is probably the best one. This one actually really does walk you through step by step how you are supposed to transform him. It's very clear, very concise. It shows in the back that he can tow Optimus's truck, which we'll talk about, or trailer, which we'll talk about. He can fit in the back of the trailer. So it's pretty cool. Okay. Go ahead and set that off to the side. Alright, so let's bring Huff back in. Or Huffer, whatever you want to call him. So I mean, overall, like, his robot mode works really well. If you want to have him tow Optimus's truck, what you do is you lift this piece up, like so. There's actually a little latch right there. So if you get in there with your finger, you can lift that open. And what you're supposed to do is straighten this out, and the latch will just clip in there. Okay. And for me personally, like, I'm not really gonna have him towing the truck. I mean, I think it's great that they did it. I know he did it in one episode of the cartoon. but it does work. I have done it. I just there we go. There it goes, and it just clips right in. And what Optimus's trailer will do is it's going to clip right into these two holes right here, and then you can have Huff towing Optimus. Again, I'm not really going to display him like that. You know, I would mostly display him in his robot mode. There we go. That just sits right there. One thing I will say is that I really like the Transformer. There is a couple quality issues which I'll kind of touch upon as we kind of go with the transformation. You know, it's definitely not, it's not the same quality that you're going to get with the Takara. You know, it's nice, but it's not overall, you're not going to get the same experience that you would get with the Takara Transformer. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that as we get into transforming them. So to get him transformed, it's pretty straightforward. I'm actually going to start off with his back piece right here, and I'm just going to separate this right here. This little piece comes off. I'm going to set this off to the side. And, you know, again, I'm kind of doing it my own way. I know the instructions have you do it a different way, but this is how I usually do it. I'm going to flip this up right here, and I'll do his legs first. Flip that up right like that. And his legs are kind of like on a like a bend, so you want to bend them down. There they go. Now his legs are bent. And the way that they did his tires, I really like the way that they actually hide them. Because what you do is you lift up this little tab right here, and then the tire just spins and goes right inside. And then you just flip this back down over the tire, and it's supposed to lock in place. It doesn't really lock in place. See how it's popping out right there? That's one of the gripes I have with it. It won't lock in place right there, and I kind of know why it won't do that. Again, that's simply because the way it's designed, more or less. So we'll turn that right way, and I'll do the other side the same way. I'm just moving these off to the side for now, so I can move the tires in. Move the tire in. You see this right here, it gets caught right on the tire. What you have to do is kind of push the tire in and then push this off to the side a little bit, and then there you go. You know, again, move these off to the side. Push this off to the side. So now we have basically the backs of his legs. Here's the front of his legs. What you can do is bring his kneecaps up. Now, I already put an Autobot symbol on him. He doesn't come with that. That's something you have to buy separately and do it. Okay. There, his legs are pretty much done. He's got a nice little ankle pivot going on here, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we get into articulation with him. Let's go swing back around to the back. Right here, these are actually his arms. So all you do is you actually untab at the top. And if you notice, mine doesn't tab all the way in on the one side. On this side it does, this side it doesn't. And I've tried pushing it in. I think what I'm going to actually have to do is kind of go in there and maybe shave a little bit. I think that's what's happening. Bring down his arm. Clip that back in. It clips in fine once there's no arm in there. Bring this one in. Okay. See, that one's really tight. There it goes. Wiggle his little arm out. And what his hand does is it grips the little peg inside. So you don't want to put too much pressure on this. You want to do it the right way. Because the last thing I want to do is I want to break this. I don't want to break this. Flip this down. Now, I've already done this part, but what you're going to do is you're going to spin this inside and inside. Okay, you're going to lift this open, and right here, that's where they store his gun. Now, I didn't do it that way because, you know, honestly, it's a pain in the butt to get this actually out, in and out. So I usually don't store it in there. I just leave it out. But that's, you're going to set the gun off to the side. And what you'll do is you'll actually flip this around and then close this up. Okay. And now we have his arm. So now we have the front of the robot, or Huff, starting to form. And this is really the kind of the part where not that I don't like it, but the part that gives me the most anxiety. Because what you do is you want to lift the cab straight up. Alright, and then what you want to do is you want to push this piece, it's actually on a hinge, push this piece up and kind of fold the tires back. Which would be great, except there's not a lot of clearance here, and that's one of the issues that I have with this transformer, is that the tolerances are not that great. Alright, I'm going to bring that piece down in a second. Before I do that, before I forget, I'm just going to flip these back. These just tab in. It just tabs in. It doesn't stay very securely, but it tabs in there fine. Alright, now I'm going to carefully, what you're going to do is you're going to lift up. And this is the part where I always get anxiety because I've broken this probably 3 times. Right here, this is the problem. Right here, this is just a little too wide. Okay? And then what you have to do is you have to kind of press with both fingers and kind of get it to go down. And you don't want to press it too much because what will end up happening is you'll actually pull this off. And I've actually did that when I first got this guy. So now you have basically the Huff robot almost complete. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the head. So we're going to lift his chest piece down. We're going to lift his head up. And then before we bring the chest piece back up, we are actually going to set these arms up. Now this, again, this part, the way they designed it, I'm not a huge fan. What you're supposed to do is there's actually a slot right there. You're supposed to lift the arm up until it clips in the slot. Now with this, we're actually lifted up like that. And then you're supposed to be able to slide. You're supposed to be able to pull that up and have the arms go in. Okay? And then you're supposed to be able to close this. And on mine, anyway, at least earlier, I can usually get one tab slotted in, but I can't get the second tab unless I really, really push. And this is where you're going to notice that this is not a Takara transformer where everything fits exactly correct. And if you see, like, I've got a gap right there. It's not tabbing in 100% right there, and that's kind of unfortunate because it kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you. So really what you have to do is you have to kind of fiddle with it and get it just in the right spot, and there it goes. And now it's tabbed in, and that's not going to go anywhere. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bring this cab, actually before I do that, on the back I'm going to flip his butt flap up and just tab it in. Stick it right there, he's tapped in. Good to go. And now I can take his cab and I'm going to push it down until it locks. And what happens is these little tabs in the back here, they actually lock into place. Alright, I'm going to straighten out his arms a little bit, straighten out his hands a little bit, arms a little bit, hands a little bit. Move these up a little bit, move that up a little bit. And then I can twist his ankles a little bit. And we now have a completed Huff. And let me just back up the camera. Oh, back it up, Andy. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot one other thing. The headlights on this guy. They will actually flip and spin. This is actually, I guess, supposed to be part of the transformation. Why, I don't know, but it's in the instruction book, so that's why I just do that. Flip it and spin it, so it's kind of seamless on top, and then you can kind of see them right there. Alright, so we have Huff in his robot mode. I'm going to set him back to the side. And he looks pretty cool, and we'll kind of go over his articulation, his paint, and all that fun stuff. Now, do his gun. His gun comes folded up. What you do is you unfold it, like that. And this is where it gets weird. You take that hitch piece that you had from before, and what you do is you kind of drop it in, and now this is his gun. And you just put it in his hand, and he'll hold it. I think if you were going to have him holding the gun all the time, it might not be a bad idea to have him with the non-articulated hands. It might hold it a little bit better. But he'll hold it pretty well. Okay? So, again, here's Huff all the way transformed, and it looks pretty good. So just for a quick size comparison, then we'll go over articulation with this guy. We'll go over some of his flaws. I have Blue Streak here. And let me back the camera up again. Back up. And Blue Streak looks pretty good with him. I mean, you know, he's taller than Huff, as he should be, but he's not overly tall. So, I mean, that kind of works in scale, I think. And I have my Year of the Horse Optimus Prime that I've repainted. I'm still working on fully customizing this guy, but here he is with Huff. And again, you can't really see. You know, Huff kind of comes up to about his waist. I guess I could kind of work as far as scale goes. Set him off to the side. Alright. So let's go ahead and talk about articulation with this guy, okay? And I'll give you my thoughts and we'll call it a day. So, I'm going to take this gun out of his hand because it's going to end up falling anyway. As far as articulation goes, his head can go forward about that much. Back about that much. It can go side to side, no problem. His arms are pretty well articulated. They can go out this much. They spin probably all the way around. If you really, if it didn't have any clearance issues, there it goes. He does have a upper bicep swivel. He has a single bend at the elbow. All right, and a wrist swivel. And it's the same on both sides. And again, these pieces just pop in and up, in and out like that. So depending on how you want him sitting. He does have a waist swivel, which is nice. His legs are really nice. I will give him that. They will go up, they will go down, they will go back, all the way. There's nothing hindering it. They'll go out, and they're staying there. These aren't loose. There's an upper thigh swivel right there. A really nice bend at the knee. You can get this guy in some amazing, amazing poses, and I've seen a bunch online. You know, you would think that this would be actually kind of heavy in the back, and it's really not. It's really not too bad. And the other way is the same way, and he also has some ankle pivot, which is nice. Alright, so let's go and talk about the bad things about Huff. Alright, first off, when I got this guy, and I first got him out of the package, I had one little paint scrape up here at the top. And I figured that was okay, that, you know, that's fine. I have transformed him, I think, a total of 3 times, and his paint's coming off. All this blue paint is going to have to be repainted. Same thing on his legs. This scrape just happened as I was transforming him. I've read online what happened was, I guess, when the guy was made, they did not clean the parts before they applied the paint. They took them out of the mold with the mold release and just put paint on top of it, and that's why we're having this problem. So the paint's going to have to be redone, which is going to be a pain, and I shouldn't have to do it, especially on a $79 figure, which is how much he was. I got him off of Toy Dojo. Alright, that's one thing, one little nitpick. These little pieces down here, they do not like to stay pegged in. That's also kind of annoying. They like to flip out, and the reason why is because the peg here isn't quite long enough, and it's going into a screw hole. Now, if I was really, you know, anal about it, I could always take a little blue tack or something like that and just tab it in, and then it would stay. You know, so I might end up doing that, because I'm probably going to keep him displayed in robot mode anyway. Okay. The other thing I've noticed is on his head, for example, I don't know how well you guys can see that, there's actually sprue marks on top where they didn't get a clean enough cut. And I've actually heard of a bunch of other people having even worse ones than I have, where they had sprue marks everywhere on the figure. Again, this is a third-party company. They are not used to making toys, apparently. This is their first offering. And I think if, honestly, you know, if they can get their quality under control, they'd have a great, great product on their hand. But right now, again, if you don't mind tinkering with your toys, by all means, go grab Huff. If you want something that's going to be like a Dakar out of the box and just ready to go, this one is not going to be for you. Wait for another release, maybe. Now, supposedly there was a second release. There was a rumor about it. It was never actually 100% confirmed, fixing all these issues. Like I said, I just ordered this guy, and this is how mine came. So, And I ordered from a really reputable dealer, toydojo.com. I think I actually got the last one he had, and he says it's pretty nice. The label on his chest, that's actually from Repo Labels, and Repo Labels actually does have a nice sticker sheet that goes with Huff, and they actually make one that goes over the chest. What they should do is they should also make one that goes over the legs, I think, too. I think people are going to have a lot of problem with these legs. But there is a paint, apparently, that's really, really close in color. It's a Tester's enamel paint that I'm going to pick up over the next next week or two, and I'll go ahead and get this guy painted up and fixed, and he'll be fine. Again, I have no problem painting figures, as you guys know. You guys watch any of my videos, most of my stuff is custom. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on the Cubex Huff. Should you get it? If you are a G1 fan or Masterpiece fan, then yes, you should get it. Just be prepared. You might have to do a couple little paint things to it. And no, you shouldn't have to do that for a $70, $75, $80 figure. I agree. You shouldn't have to. But this figure is really, really amazing in hand. He sits really, really nicely with the other Transformer figures. So if it was me, I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, just be prepared for doing a little bit of upkeep on them, and you'll be fine. Alright guys, that's our review. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. This is a first for us. This is a Transformer review. If you guys have any questions, please leave us a comment. Come find us on Articulated.com. That's ARTQLTD. ARTQLTD.com, where you find all the up-to-the-minute news on Transformers, Marvel Legends, Star Wars, Marvel Universe, you name it, we're going to cover it over there. Alright guys, this is US Agent, and I'll catch you guys in the next review.